Hey, so I decided to do an impromptu parenting video on the stress of distance learning. I've been helping students ages 5 through 15 during this global pandemic insanity that we call distance learning, which I know might be or actually is hybrid learning for the middle school kids, and it is not fun. So, as I'm editing my 100 parenting tips inspired by the pandemic, published before, let's say, before spring, um, I want to take the time to read parenting tip number 7, which was so long ago since I did 100 of these lovely tips, and is defining your role as a parent, not as an educator in your child's distance learning journey. So what is your role? Is your role to make sure that every assignment is done? Is your role to make sure that your kids are passing all their classes? No, it's not. Well, you might think it is, but I disagree. A lot of parents might not agree with my perception and my belief on what the true role for a parent, should be during this distance learning challenge. Your role as a parent is to motivate, right, and encourage your child in their distance learning journey. Whose journey is it? It's their distance learning journey, not yours. I think a lot of us, and I'm guilty, Chelsea is a college freshman doing her distance learning journey, and I hear her stress, and I want so much to step in and make sure that things are done right. But you know what? Unless you have someone maybe below 8 years old, you might have to have a more hands-on approach. Sit next to them, don't do their work, but it's mainly as a supervisor or to monitor, right? Don't ever do their work. Do not even guide them to the answer. Just be there, observe, and really teach your children to find their own resources. Even as a 5-year-old, ask their peers, ask their teachers, really try to get it away from you being the educator in your household, because we train how our children perceive us. So are you doing and playing the role as a teacher? Then your children will most likely look up to you as a second teacher in their distance learning classroom, which you don't want that. I've been there. You don't want that. So, praise your child for their successes. Do not, emphasis on do not, criticize their weaknesses. Don't do that, because you think, and I've been guilty of it, we give them little positive guidance maybe, and we explain why sentences should be rewritten or why certain math errors why did these mistakes happen. And the tone of our voice, sometimes it is so easy to lose our patience, right? And we end up turning it into a lecture, turning it into you know what you did wrong? Oh, you forgot to borrow when you subtracted. Oh, you know what you did wrong? You didn't really use the correct verb tense when you wrote. Wait a minute, did you just misspell the word there? Because we know that there's 3 different types of theirs. But do not, when you start doing that, you think you're being the educator. You know what your child sees? You're being very critical. They're feeling incompetent, and they just don't want to do the work, right? It's almost like if your boss pointed out your mistakes, you don't even want to be around that person. So your role is to be their teacher, guide them, teach them how to find resources. Patience is required, yes, which is oftentimes seems an impossible trait to practice. But teachers, students, parents, siblings, we're really stressed and overwhelmed. I just heard that I think in Mililani Middle, one of the tracks, there might have been a negative case, there might have been, they don't know if it's negative or positive, but it wasn't good. So I don't know if it was a negative result that turned positive, or it wasn't a teacher, but it was a child, and so they closed one of they have tracks, they have 3 different tracks, so kids go when it's just their turn, and they're only going once a week. So last week they canceled the track, one of the tracks. But it's just makes us feel really nervous, right? When is this going to stop? Is it safe to go to school? Are they using the right, safety measures? Are they even practicing the 6 feet apart thing, right? So focus on your relationship. Focus on the relationship with your child, not the academic goals, not the grades. Hey, Frank, thanks for watching. Yeah, this is not the time to focus on grades, not the time to really watch whether their academic goals are reached, because face it, the kids are facing much more than just academic stress. They are feeling imprisoned by not being able to socialize. They are just not in a good mental state. So let's give them a break. Your main role, just to support them and help them set the stage for success. Keep in close contact with your child's teachers and the admin. Release the need, this is a good one, release the need to control your child's academic responsibilities. Don't make their grades your goal. I've done that way too many times, even with my students. I feel like if they have a good grade, then I did my job. If they have a bad grade, then I failed. And I'm just realizing, after 21 years, if my student has an F, it's not a reflection of whether I'm a competent tutor. If your child refuses to turn on his camera during distance learning or decides not to do his work, it does not make you a bad parent. You just have a child who might either be bored, might not see the value of learning this type of curriculum, or the curriculum choices that our Department of Ed sets up. You wonder, right? But we have no control over it. Whenever I help with my students' homework, I always say, I did not create this homework, but I'm here to guide you. I've been having to do grammar quizzes, a lot of book report questions where they're having to, what did they mean by moldy cheese? What Halloween costume did so-and-so wear? Why do you think so-and-so didn't like so-and-so? And they're reading comprehension questions, but that's how school has always been, right? We've always questioned whether the academic system is effective. But that's a different subject. Right now, it's just a little impromptu thing. Define your role as a parent, not an educator. And most of all, let's start enjoying interacting with our kids, or else we're going to be creating some really crappy memories, and we don't want that, right? Thanks for watching. Bye.